Hello my friends, today is a new day and an exciting day it is indeed, because today I want to share with you guys the process of pre-production. I've had a few requests to break down a particular video I've done, so I want to take that video and use it as an example to talk about pre-production, production, and post-production. So if you've watched the video that I posted last week, you'll see that the video that we're going to talk about is one that is very dear to me, and it has been one of my favorites to date. And before we begin, I do want to do a quick shout out because I couldn't have done this project without my team. So Anna and Tiffany, thank you so much for making this possible. You know who you are. I appreciate you. So to start, what we knew about the brand is that they were interested in having a video done to tell their story. And something that's important for us to remember is that when it comes to creating any content for any client, we want to make sure that this type of content is going to represent that brand or company. A lot of us have our own styles, and I think that's really natural when it comes to creating. But when it comes to this as well, we have to remember to take into account who it is that we're creating for, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't meet their goals, it's not really going to be a good piece of content for them. So we want to make sure that what we create for this client or what we create for this brand is going to be able to speak to their audience as well. And so in order for us to get to know this brand, what we did was we asked a few questions, we did some research, we got to know a general sense of who the brand is, and that way it's going to help us with framing the content to speak to their audience as well. So what was really helpful for us was our contact Catherine. In the beginning of this project, she actually sent us a brand brief, and that actually gave us a lot of context as to who the brand was, what they believed in, where they came from, even as deep as their color schemes and stuff like that. So they had a few videos attached to it that was kind of references to what kind of inspiration they had in order to help us guide the direction for us as well. So this was very useful if you're working with a brand or company and they have some type of brief that they can share with you. Definitely look at that, because it can really help with directing the project. So the next part of the process for us was to write a script for the voiceover, and because we didn't physically go through the story with the brand, it came with this host of challenges. But what we found really helpful was to go to the brand's website and to look at their About Us, because a little bit of research can go a long way. So what this did for us was it gave us a starting point for the whole script. And something to remember is that you don't want to just regurgitate the biography, because this isn't school where we're out here plagiarizing. Not that I ever did that, but we want to make sure that we're speaking in a way that can also be relatable to the audience of the brand. And so this is where research really comes in play, because from research and from asking questions, you get a tone of, or you get an idea of the tone that the brand wants to kind of give off to their audience. And so this is going to guide you when it comes to coming in with keywords and stuff like that. So when I was writing the script, I was literally lying on the floor, and it kind of felt like acting, because I had to put my mind to relate to the brand and to see how they wanted to speak to the audience. But then I also had to put my mind into the shoes of the audience in order for me to see how it would be for me to see this piece of content come out and how I would like to be spoken to as well. So I had to take these two perspectives into account when I was writing the script, because at the end of the day, if it's not meaningful or if it doesn't like make an impact to the audience, it doesn't really do the job as, you know, the piece of video content. So that was a big challenge for me. I had to really step outside of my own shoes, get into the shoes of the brand and the audience. But yeah, lying on the floor helped me, because I got to just focus on the words, and that's how I came up with the script for this video. And with the script done, Tiffany actually came in clutch, because she was actually the one that did all the location scouting. She was the one that reached out and pitched to these locations as well. So it was because of her that we secured the location that we did. She also did an amazing job with looking for models and securing those as well. She was the one that did their outreach for the models and maintained connections while we were in the middle of planning this project. So Tiffany, thank you very much for that. This project would not have been as successful without you. Around the time that Tiff was sorting out the locations and the models, we started to shot list as well. So one of the approaches that Tiff, Anna, and I took was to take the voiceover and to break it down into its individual lines. That way it was a little more digestible in the way for us to match it up with a visual. And what I found is that sometimes this can be really easy, because you can have the visuals matching exactly what the voiceover is saying, but sometimes it's a little more abstract where you can't really, it's not really viable to match the words and the visuals specifically. And so in this case, what we wanted to do was communicate the emotion that the script was trying to get across with the visuals. And so if the script was trying to talk about wonderment or amazement, we wanted to make sure that the visuals would portray the same emotion to the audience. At the end of the day, for me, I always have to remind myself that as much as I love a cool visuals are only as effective as they can tell a story. And so if you're always choosing between, you know, like, should I choose something that looks really cool, or should I choose something that will progress the story, then I think progressing the story is always going to be ideal, unless that shot that progresses the story is like complete trash, but I think that most of the time that's not going to be the case. And so when it comes to choosing, the cool shot could actually dilute the storyline. And so what you want to make sure you're doing is to keep the storyline strong, because it gives the audience something to follow along with. The transitions in this project I've been asked a lot about, and yes, they were pre-planned. The reason for this is because I want to make sure that they were strategically placed throughout the story in order to help it progress, because when it comes to transitions, we all love a cool transition, but I think just like the cool versus not so cool shot, where a cool shot can often distract if it's not telling the story, it's the same thing with a transition. People might get hooked on, oh, that was so cool, but if it doesn't tell the story or if it doesn't progress the storyline, then I feel like it also distracts. And so sometimes it might even mean cutting off or kind of excluding a transition idea in order to just do a simple cut, because it just is more effective in the story. For me, storyline is king, and I think when it comes to especially a brand story video, I think this is super important. After the shot list was created, Anna did an amazing job at creating a schedule. And as much as I'm terrible at creating schedules, Anna was really good at it, and I've seen it save shoots so many times. And this was a particular case where if we didn't have schedule, I think we would be in trouble, because we had limited time and we just couldn't go back to the location afterwards because it was a booked spot. So basically what Anna did for this process was she took the shot list that we created, she kind of divided them into the locations, and she slotted them into times where we'd be able to execute these shots. Because she was able to do that, she made us a lot more organized when it came to the process of shooting. So once Anna finished all this, we had the voiceover, location, models, we also had the shot list and the schedule, and that was everything we needed to start shooting. Alright my friends, so that was the process of how we planned this video, and because I didn't really touch the process of looking for models or location scouting, I personally felt like the most time-consuming aspect for me was shot listing. And the reason for this was because shot listing is going to be what guides the whole shoot. And so when I go into a shoot, I don't want to have to think more about what shots I could be getting. I try to just listen and trust the old self that wrote the shot list, and so that for me really helps to guide the shots that I'm going to take. So I find that really important. I think shot listing is something that has really changed the game when it comes to my filmmaking. Also, leading up to the shoot, Tiff did an amazing job at connecting everybody who was involved. She threw us into an Instagram group, and it just helped us all get acquainted, and especially because this was an overnight trip, I felt like that was really crucial to helping us be more loose and laxed around each other to make sure that this project was a success. So if there's anything you feel like I've missed in the planning process, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. Please like this video if you feel like you've gained some value from it. Hopefully it can help you in future projects, and the next video is going to be more production and post-production processes, so stay tuned for that. Peace. Testing. Just wanted to make sure the audio is looking good, sounding good. How do you see audio? Oh, gotta lower this down because I'm not that tall. Ooh, now I can sit up straight. I'm at attention now. Now you guys are in trouble.